Siyakhuleka emakhosini akube kuhle kube mhlophe. Siyakhuleka emakhosini akube kuhle kube mkhophe. Siyakhuleka emakhosini akube kuhle kube mhlophe. Siyakhuleka emakhosini akube kuhle kube mhlophe. Siyakhuleka kube kuhle kube mhlophe. Siyakhuleka emakhosini akube kuhle kube mhlophe. Siyakhuleka kube kuhle kube mhlophe. Thokozani Royals, please tap the screen if you're on here. Please tap the screen. Tap the screen so we get up in the algorithm. Tap the screen also to notify me that you can actually hear me. Please tap the screen. Tap the screen. Tap. Appreciate you. Please tap the screen. Siyakhuleka emakhosini akube kuhle kube mhlophe. Siyakhuleka kube kuhle kube mhlophe. Akube kuhle kube mhlophe. Akube kuhle kube mhlophe. Please tap the screen, guys. Keep tapping that screen. Let's just keep tapping. Don't have a lot of people here. I think it's probably because of the time. But please do tap the screen. I will start. I will get into it as soon as is possible. Just a couple of announcements, by the way, for those who are not able to stay or those who come on later. This is going to be uploaded on YouTube. The YouTube channel is in the link in my bio. You can go and subscribe and binge watch. We're talking about the ancestors, and this is part of a series. We are now on part 9. And there's a very important teaching that has come. And it has come because of a couple of experiences I've had in the last couple of months. Makos. So I figured, let me come on here and talk about this because it's very important. People, again, guys, knowledge is power. Knowledge is power. So we're going to be talking about the ancestors and what I call spiritual justice, right? And I will define what I mean by spiritual justice and how that actually works. It always amazes me just how much knowledge there is out there that we have lost. And so when through my own practice, I come across things like this and I have to work them, I always come to share with the greater family because sometimes you're not having an ancestral connection, or there are things that are happening within your family that you don't quite understand. And it could be because there is a need for what I call spiritual justice. But before we get into that, I just wanted to say, for those in Ndlovukazi, those queens who have bought their book, please can you, if you are interested in the one-on-one sessions we're going to be having based on this book, sort of workshop style, we're going to take it chapter by chapter. Please could you email nkanyezihealing@gmail.com and just say, I've got my book, I want to be part of the group. I think so far we have like 6 or 7 people. So this is again, if you've bought your book has arrived. Don't know if you've started reading, if you haven't, whatever. If you're interested in the sort of one-on-one that we're going to do as we work through this, we're going to workshop this. We're going to use this as a workbook to do some inner healing. If you're interested, please do send that email. It's Nkanyezi Healing, all small letters, nkanyezihealing@gmail.com. And yeah, just put in your what do you call this, the subject, just put workshop, book workshop or workshop, and then you can just say, yes, I'm interested. We will then collect all these, and then once we do, I'll convene a group where we can together decide what day we're going to do this and what medium we're going to use. I suggest Zoom, because Zoom is just so much better in terms of, I also have Zoom that can host over 100 people. I have a subscription. So we can do it on Zoom, because then, we can all talk to one another in real time. No? Okay, so that's that announcement done. Right, so let's talk about spiritual justice. And I'm going to be looking at spiritual justice not from the point of view of you guys who are alive, like you and me, but I'm going to talk about spiritual justice from the perspective of the ancestral realm. So what is done, and this is done on the continent a lot, and I know that if you're not from the continent, you probably are not familiar with this, but I want to give you this tip so that you can understand. Say you have a family member who was unalived, right? And let's say you know who did it, but the justice system has failed you and your family. Or let's say you don't know who did it. The justice system has failed you again because they have not, dug enough to find out who did this. It's very simple. What happens back home is that a person who has passed on in that manner is often buried, right, in their coffin. A weapon will be put in there. So, for example, if the person was unalived through a pew-pew, then people will get a toy pew-pew and they will put it in there. And they will talk to him before he is buried, before the coffin closes, and say, fight for yourself. We are giving you permission to get up and fight for yourself. Whoever did this to you, go and fight for yourself. Go and get this person. It starts. Then the person is buried and the family goes home. And sure enough, that soul, that spirit, will cause, now, of course, the toy pew-pew, but what that person will do is that spirit, remember, spirits are of high intelligence. They're above us. So whether the human physical person went in a way that once they are in spirit form, I always say this body confines our spirit. We could do so much more if we weren't confined by this physical body. Well, that person will say, oh, okay, my family said I must fight for me, because they don't rest if they don't fight for themselves. You can do all the cleansings you like, but if they don't fight for themselves, they won't get peace. So what tends to happen is they start causing havoc in the family, because they're looking for attention, they're looking for assistance. So the way the family can prevent what we call umkoka, or this kind of energy kind of going down generation after generation, this energy where you find that, okay, because this one person was, or then in the family, 1 or 2 generations later, somebody else is the same way. Or do you see what I'm saying? I'm not using those words because, they'll close us off, right? So I'm using the signals. You guys get what I mean. So then this person will cause whoever out there to also die by the So for those of you who are who have been in that book, you know it. You live by the sword, you die by the sword. It doesn't apply only in the physical. Spirits are very much capable of fighting for themselves and getting justice for themselves. That is why most of us now, when we look around the world and we see, for example, how justice system fails families and so on and so forth, my thing is, yes, unfortunately, many of our people are stuck in the system and are stuck. Mostly they get stuck through religion into not realizing that, no, actually, that person didn't get justice for themselves because they know who did what to them. They know. It's the same thing as somebody who might have had a hex thrown at them that caused them to perish in a car accident. We don't know perhaps how that happened. And most people may not even have the wherewithal at that time, because it's just so much pain, to consult maybe a spiritualist to say, what really happened there? It's simple. You tell the person as they are being buried, you bury them with a weapon. And you say, if it's a car accident, put a toy car. And you say, whoever did this to you may go and fight. You know who did this. We don't. Go and fight. Go and fight for yourself. Whenever I talk about ma'at and balance, I like to use these examples. What is done on the left must be done on the right. This is ma'at balance. So a lot of people will say, no, somebody did this to me. Listen, guys, I'm not advocating revenge on every simple little thing. But there are some people who cause you so much havoc and who continue to cause you so much havoc. You, even as a physical person, have a right to fight for yourself. And you have a right to defend yourself, even if it means going spiritual with that defense. I make no bones about that. I know a lot of spiritualists out there who are like, I'm only love and light. I'm like, you're imbalanced. I'm only in the light. Well, then you're imbalanced. Because for you to be able to be in the light, you've got to know what happens in the darkness. Balance, ma'at, is everything. That is why currently you'll find that palm-colored creatures are terrified, because now they realize that, the stuff that they have been doing to us is going to be done to them. They know what time it is. That's why they never wanted us to awaken in the first place. So now we are awakened. We are in ma'at. We now understand spiritual principles, because that's all this is. This is the principles that govern the universe, the laws that govern the universe. Demand this of us. Otherwise, there is imbalance. There is no harmony and order that can be restored. There's no justice that can be restored if we don't fix the imbalances. So spiritual justice works that way. This person was taken out in a particular manner. They have every right. In fact, they are obliged, for their own soul to find peace. They are obliged to get up, if you like, and go and fight for themselves. Right? So I wanted to just come and pass that on to you. Like I said, sometimes in families, people maybe even are suspicious that there was foul play. Somebody might be, unalived because somebody gave them poison or poisoned their food in the workspace. Wherever it is that has happened, the person gets home, they're sick, they pass on. They go, they do an autopsy, and they find that, no, this person was poisoned, but they cannot trace back to where this poison was. Well, talk to the person before you bury them. Bury them with a bottle of Alperimi or something. Put it there and say, go and fight. You know who did this to you. Go and fight for yourself so you may find peace and so you may rest. Otherwise, they don't rest. And all you have is you have umkoka. You have now this generational thing that's created where in the family, and you ask yourself this question, Why would a spirit seek attention within a family by doing the same thing over? Well, they're trying to show you who they are. So, for example, if this person was unalived by this, every year or every 2 years, someone in the family gets unalived by this. Most people won't even see the pattern. Maybe it's every 5 years someone in the family goes through that. You guys know what I mean, right? With a sharp thing and then yeah. This spirit continues to do that as a way to draw attention to say, I'm not resting. I am not at peace. I need certain rituals XYZ done for me. Now, if people are unconscious, if people are stuck in that religion, first time it happens, you say accident. Every time it happens, you get the same people saying accident. And because generationally we grow, right? So if this happens, say, in my generation, and I'm now an adult, I may transition and pass on. My children may not know that there's an uncle so-and-so who was unalived by, that. So then when it happens again, they just like, oh my gosh, it's an accident. Then it doesn't happen again, and then they're adults, so it happens to some member of the family elsewhere. They don't hear about it, but then there's another STABBING happened. This is how legacy is destroyed within families when these things are not fixed as soon as it happens. When the rituals that are required around the corpse and the coffin are not done. And this will carry on and on. Now, not only do you have that one spirit who started out, Uncle so-and-so, but now Uncle so-and-so caused nephew so-and-so to go the same way. Now you have two of them who are seeking help. Then 3 years later, there's cousin so-and-so again who goes in that same way. Now there are 3 of them. So do you see why it just creates a bigger and bigger and bigger mess, which can literally shut down a lineage? There are many lineages where you hear, oh, all the males in our family just die at the age of 41 from mysterious causes. Well, look into it. It can't be. At 41, they all go. 41, all the males, because that's how specific they are. See, Uncle so-and-so won't come and cause problems with the nieces. He'll go to the nephews because he's trying to get you to remember that, there's a problem we didn't fix. Uncle so-and-so died in the same way 2 years ago. Oops. So they're not going to go to the females. It's too random. So you'll find that after a while, everybody starts noticing a pattern, those who are woke and those families that are still together, that every 3 years, there's a male in the family who dies at 41. What is going on? Then when they consult, they get told that, there is an elder so-and-so who was unalived by this method. Did you do anything for it? No. Well, he's the one who's causing all this. Not because he's negative because of the results, what he's producing. But he's not because he was a bad person who's now decided that he's going to wipe out the males in the family. No, but because he's trying to get the attention of family members to get up, go see what the problem is so that they can assist him. Now the question then becomes, could you do this for somebody who has already gone, buried, coffin closed, whatever? Yes, you can. Yes, you can. There are ways in which it can be done. And, I don't want to give too much here because then somebody is going to go and take a pew and go by some grave and start doing things. And meanwhile, you have missed 1-2 steps and you are raising the wrong thing that is going to now follow you home with that pew. And now all hell breaks loose in your home. And it's no longer Uncle so-and-so. It's that spirit, whoever it was, who you called, thinking you're calling uncle, guys. But I do want to tell you that It can still be fixed even after this person has gone. There are certain rituals that can be done where he can go and he fights for himself, and then he can. You see, this is what people don't understand. When a spirit goes and fights for themselves, and they get that spiritual justice, that justice they deserve, they are immediately cleansed. Remember, I told you that there are spirits that are in pain, and we need to cleanse them of their pain so that they don't come through as negative ancestors, but can be ancestors of and in the light. Well, a spirit that is able to fight for themselves is automatically cleansed because now balance has been restored. An eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth is a very real thing. If somebody knocks your eye out and you knock their eye out, it's like, good, both of us have one eye. Well, good, let's keep it moving. So it's the same in that spiritual realm. Once they have appeased themselves by getting that spiritual justice, by going after whoever it is that harmed them, most cases that is, and the family will know there's no weird behaviors that happen. And sometimes people who couldn't dream him now start dreaming him, which means he has ascended. He did what he needed to do and he has ascended. But when it's not taken care of, that's when it can cause havoc within that family. And listen, the thing about spiritual deaths is they don't die, they don't go away. It doesn't matter how many centuries later. It can still be happening. That's if that lineage is still functional and around and alive. Because by the time you get to 5 or 6 spirits that have gone in the same way, and each of them is looking for attention in different ways, do you see how that can destroy a whole lineage? Say the male members, since that's what we were using as an example. So it's very important to keep these things in mind. It's very important to start taking care. I always say taking care of our ancestors, both in that spiritual realm and also trying to remember. Look in your own lineage. Here's an exercise for you. Look within your own families. See if you see any strange patterns. The patterns are usually not even strange because they're so clear and concise. Look in your family. I know that in my family, we have a situation right now. It's just that everybody is all caught up in the Christianity. So far within the family, in the last 7 years, I think they've been, 5 or so, when they do this to themselves and they hang themselves from a tree, that one. And I keep saying it's because the first one was never taken care of, and now he's looking for attention. Now you've got an accumulation of these spirits who are all looking for attention, who've gone by unaliving themselves that way. And it's the same. They all hang from somewhere. It's gruesome. But until my family decides to hear me and allow me to do the rituals that need to be done, there's nothing I can do except to protect my own, to protect my children, to do rituals around my children and my siblings, meaning my mother's children, to make sure that we don't get touched by this, what now seems to be a generational curse. Because that's how generational curses happen. It's not just somebody saying a curse over your life. That too has a way of just perpetuating down a lineage. But these kind of things create a generational curse. You might want to call it a generational pattern, but it's a curse because it hurts to think that within a family, there are people who are just like every night. And there's always people who don't seem troubled. This one was not troubled, but they just... How does this happen, you ask? Because remember, spirit is highly intelligent. If there is a spirit of somebody who did unalive themselves, they can start whispering into the ear of a certain kid, come and join me. The kid doesn't, and the kid is not even aware sometimes when that starts to happen. And then they start with what they call ideation. I'm not going to say the S word, but the S ideation, where they start having thoughts and imagining and that they want to do that to themselves. And it's always a shock to families because they look at the history. Was there depression? No history of depression. Anxiety? No history of anxiety. Anything major happen in this person's life? Any trauma? Nothing that they can point to. But, so very important. This is what our consciousness and learning about spirituality is, so that we realize that we are not as helpless as we think we are, and neither are those who've gone before us who have unfortunately perished under horrible circumstances. They can get empowered to get justice for themselves. That was the main purpose of all this. I was just talking about the S thing because it creates the same umkoka. It creates that same energy within a lineage if it's not taken care of. So I just wanted to say, please, I encourage you, look in your lineage. Look in your lineage, talk to some of your elders, aunties, whoever's around, especially if you know that you have an uncle who passed on, and then start to look around to see whether there are any signs that anything like that could be happening within your family. So on that note, I hope this was useful to you guys. This is going to be under the ancestors part. This is part 9, I believe. Yeah. And so as more stuff comes, I will just keep posting under that ancestor series. Man, it's just growing. I had no idea when we started it that there was going to be more and more and more coming. But I hope this was useful. If you have any questions, you can ask them under the YouTube, because that's where a lot of people go and rewatch. And then if they have questions, they ask questions. Your questions are going to have to be general. I mean, I can't answer your personal questions about what's going on in your family just like that. But if it's a question around this whole issue of spiritual justice, certainly go ahead. By all means, ask questions. People on YouTube know that I respond to absolutely everybody there. Even if somebody just puts a heart, they get a heart back. So on that note, family, I look forward to those who are going to embark on this journey with us. Please don't forget. The sooner we get your messages, the sooner we can convene our group and get started. Be nice if we could get this thing started latest end of the second week of June. Let's get on the road with that. Ne? Otherwise, love you, Black family. Love you, Black nation. As always, from the bottom of my bottomest heart. Love you. Love, light, peace, courage, bravery in this season of Sekhmet. Ziyakhala manje. Thokozeni.